All right. Thank you so very much. I know I did mic check the other time, and I'm very certain that everyone can hear me good tonight, right? If you can hear me good, just say, let me test your audio too, just for me to be
Uh-huh.
sure. Okay, I'll take that, Shaya. Thank you so very much. Right, I'm so excited every time I have opportunity to present something very important and very, you know, insightful, especially opportunity to speak to professionals like you or aspiring professional, whichever category that you fall into. All right, because of so many opportunity, we have so many information out there. Even ChatGPT can also answer some of your questions, but it might not be able to give you the accurate information all the time. But however, thank you for joining me tonight. You could have been somewhere else, but you chose to be here. I didn't take that for granted at all. And my promise to you is that in the next 45 minutes, right? God willing, the next 45 minutes, I want to share with you a very important information. Now, I want to show you why those advice that you are given about transitioning into cybersecurity, I want to show you why they are correct and also why it stopped working anyway, right? So we want to see how come this great information, great advice, right, is not producing result, right? And I'm going to present this, giving us the story of a real person, a composite of a real person. We're going to call his name David, just to bring everything together. However, while I am chatting, do you mind sending in the chat room where you are joining from? Wherever you're joining from, just send in the chat room. I'm reading the chat room. Somebody from Texas, right? Even without you telling me, Houston, Texas, all right? Thank you. Maryland, Texas, Dallas, Texas for the win. I'm also from Texas, so we are casting the vote right now. I know if we're going to vote for anything right now, Texas is still leading. HTX, that might be Eastern Texas. I believe, yes. Washington, D.C., thank you so very much for joining. So just keep that coming. Now, again, tonight, I want to give you very important information. And for you to come and join this webinar, I have a special gift for everyone, provided you stay till the end of this webinar. Again, my name is Olukayode Osilaja. If you have attended my previous webinar, thank you for coming back again. Right? Oh, we have New York in the house. However, if it's your first time joining my live webinar, I believe something brought you here, and I want to make sure that everything that you need to know within this next 45 minutes, I'm able to do justice to that. Okay? That is what we are going to do today. It's going to be an exciting time together. I want to tell you about someone, let's call his name David. So David is a blend of real people I've mentored. Okay. Every number I'm about to give you, they are real number that I've seen over and over again. David did everything right. He studied for months for certification and he passed his security plus. He passed his CISM. He passed his CISA certifications. All these are cybersecurity certification. He also went through a GRC boot camp. Okay, very good one, comprehensive. And he followed the advice given. He applied for jobs, but guess what? 400 applications submitted over 9 months. 6 screening calls. He managed to get 6 screening calls, but he got zero offer. And David told me something I've now heard dozens of times in almost the same words, in muster under their breath. He said, I started to believed that cybersecurity itself was a scam. If you can see yourself or if you can align with the David story, I just want you to type yes in the chat room. That is, you have certification, you've gone through different boot camps, right? You've applied to dozens of jobs, you got few callbacks and zero offer. In the case of David, for 9 months, 400 applications submitted, 6 screen calls, and zero. And he began to lose faith, the hope, the desire of a career that he was promised seems to be dwindling. I see a couple of yeses coming in, right? So also, if you have not, okay, it's your first time, you not even apply to cybersecurity job, it's okay. I got you tonight. So here's what David eventually discovered. And it's the whole webinar in one sentence. See, I will tell you for free that the jobs were real, but it's just that David, just like somebody else, they were standing at the wrong door. And I'd like you to hold that thought for a minute. We'll come back to David's story at the end of this whole thing. But I will also tell you that David eventually landed a job, but what did he do differently? But I will tell you what he did not do. He did not change his career, but he simply changed the door. Think about a career as a building that has so many doors, and you are only pointed at the only access into this career building is door A, and everybody queue at that door A. Whereas we have other doors, but you felt like, no, I can't go through the other door. It's the door that I've been asked to come into this building. That's exactly what I find out through a thoughtful research. So by the end of tonight, you will know exactly what David did, and you will have started doing it yourself even before the end of this webinar tonight. So that is what we're going to do. So in case if you are meeting me for the first time, my name is Olukayode Osilaja. Some people call me Sir K, some people call me Mr. K. Even some people, they call me Professor K. Whichever one feel comfortable with you is okay by me. But what I will tell you is that I've been in this industry for more than 20 years. I've had the privilege of working for some big companies like NASA, FDIC, Social Security Administration. I'm talking of US federal governments. I've worked for corporate organizations as well. I've had the opportunity to some cybersecurity compliance program for all these big companies. And I will tell you for free as well, I am still in the job market. That is, I have my 9 to 5 job. So I'm not telling you what I read in the book. I'm not telling you the video that I watched 5 years ago that I'm now repurposing in 2026. I am telling you what is ongoing right now in the job market. So through my research, through my that is what I'm delivering to you today. Today, I'm managing 900 Kubernetes clusters for one of these global company. No, I'm managing over 600,000 container images. It's my daily routine, right? So everything I teach you tonight is what's true this year. There are things that are true this year, not things that are true 5 years ago or 1 year ago. They are the ongoing things that we need to pay attention to. Okay, important. I've also had the privilege of mentoring people in the field of cybersecurity. I've been in the field of mentoring for more than 10 years. Okay, story is training is very, very transformative, right? Let's meet the first word, GRC. I don't know if it's your first time this guy GRC you want to signify, okay? Before we actually get to GRC tonight, I want to leave you with 4 things that you need to know. Okay? This one thing I want to say before we start. In the interest of full transparency, at the end of tonight, I'm going to open enrollment for my 12-week cohort, right? And the reason why I have to tell you this so that you are not met with surprises later. I'm going to be starting a cohort and I'm going to be introducing you to that. But even if you are not buying into any of the cohorts, I want to guarantee you one thing, that you are going to walk away from this webinar with clarification, right, about what you need to do, all right, in the next step, and also with practical steps and guide that you needed, because these are essential for you to be able to make gainful career decision. All right. So if you have your resume, that's fine. We're going to walk through your resume along the line. Okay. Just keep your resume handy. So the word GRC, right? If you have heard the word GRC, I know we have some veteran in the house. They've heard the word GRC before, but we're going to do this quick. If it's your first time in the word GRC, I just like for you to type the number 1 in the chat room. It's your first time hearing the word GRC, type 1. Not seen anyone, so probably speaking with the veterans, so that makes my work a little more easier, so that I don't need to start defining a lot of times. But okay, for the sake of uh, just reconnecting with that word GRC. GRC stands for governance, risk, and compliance, right? G stands for govern, that is, it governs the rules. So, which means there are rules somewhere that needs to be governed. So, we have the governance, then the risk is like the judge. No, it judges what matter most, right, among the rules that are written. Then C, which is compliant, shows that it proves evidence. So are we aligning with the rules? That is what compliance is actually talking about. Now, when you think about cybersecurity, 2 words come to mind: technical and non-technical. The technical side of cybersecurity are those DevOps, threat hunter, vulnerability management, and what have you, right? So many of them. But those are technical. Why are they technical? Because it requires some level of skill sets, either programming or coding side of things, in order to actually perform your BAU, your business as usual task. But GRC is also part of cybersecurity, but it's the non-technical side of cybersecurity. So, which means because it's non-technical, you don't need to code. Hallelujah. You don't need to do any programming thing. All you just need is ability to read and write. And I believe everyone, you already have the skill set. Now, what I will tell you is that who are the people that GRC is meant for? Okay? Look through what I have on the screen, right? It's meant for, and the list is unending. Any auditor, accountant, project managers, legal, paralegal, teachers, warehouse person, driver, nurses, admin, school teachers, school admin. You can go, the list goes on and on. So these are the people that GRC is actually built for. But let me ask you this question real quick. Which card do you fall into? What is your own current skill set? Are you a teacher? Let me know in the chat room, okay? One that you belong to. Just keep the list coming, all right? Okay, so it's a law enforcement. Thank you so very much. All right. So this means that GRC is genuinely accessible field and is full of capable people. And that is where our story is going to be starting today. So, irrespective, the project manager, thank you, student, worried about experience, though getting job in GRC, okay, able to sort that out, right? Genuinely accessible field and is built for capable people like you. So, which means whatever you are doing right now, hold on to it. And we want to look at it from a different perspective. And I want to prove to you that whatever you are doing right now translates into GRC. So, when you are coming into cybersecurity, into GRC, you are not starting over. Nobody is starting over. You are actually continuing what you're doing. If you say you have no experience, you wait and let me prove that to you. Okay, our story is going to be starting from where you are because we want to go forward from where we are. Okay, while we are talking about that, let me set your expectations right. Here are things that people are actually afraid of, and we say that number do not lie. Why do everybody want to come into cybersecurity? And why do you have to do that now? I want to show you. Now, look at this. The dream of transitioning into cybersecurity through GRC, it is legitimate dream. According to BLS, Bureau of Labor Statistics, right? This number is not just a campaign ad, it is what is listed in BLS website. So none of tonight is me telling you that the dream is fake. Your dream is real. And the money in the field of GRC is also real. And more importantly, the growth in GRC is also real. It's not fabricated. But now, remember the story of David that we started with. He did everything right. 400 applications over 9 months, 6 screen calls, but 0 offers. But why did David did not get hired into the field of cybersecurity? But let's look at the data. Let's look at what it says, right? It says the minimum pay is 120K. The projected growth in cybersecurity, GRC specifically, is about 33%. And the top 5, okay, worldwide, when you think about cybersecurity, it's the top 5 of the most lucrative career. And I know the reason because cybersecurity is the problem of every country in every continent. So everywhere you go to, you are faced with issue. So any country you find yourself, that skill goes with you. It's not something that you do and you give up on, right? It's something that goes with you. But why can't he be higher? But now let me ask you another question. How many jobs have you applied to? I'm talking about you. Maybe in the last, let's give it a number. In the last month, then let's go too far. How many jobs have you applied to? We have A, B, C, D. So 10. That is A, 11 to 50, B. C is 51 to 200. And D, over 200. Somebody said D. And you mean in the last 6 months? Okay. See some B. I see some D coming in. All right. Now, let me tell you this. Everyone in the job market, everyone doing cybersecurity training, they are selling code. They are selling course. They are selling these numbers. They are marketing this number. But guess what? What they are not telling you is that the gap between the people that are in the field, the number of the openings that we have, and the number of people that are not filling the role, the gap is actually real. Okay? They don't tell you is that the gap measures unmet demand for skilled and hybrid roles, not entry level openings. You see, this 4.8 million position globally is real according to ISC square. But this particular number talks about unmet demand for skilled and hybrid roles. It's not for entry-level positions. But the problem is that the capability. It is not because of certificates. In fact, if I open the cybersec.org now, cybersec.org is one of the tools, by which we kind of employment rates, in United States, especially across the state. You see, the number of people that are certified is almost like half of the number of openings, right, that we have. So which means if certification is what killed the problem of unemployment, everybody should be hired by now. But it is not everybody that have the certification that have the capability to do the job. So we don't have certification problem, but we have the capability problem. So you hold that thought. So when we want to handle this problem, when we want to solve this problem, we are not solving this problem by providing information more about get more certifications, but we are solving the problem of addressing the capability problem. So that is very, very important. You see that there are more jobs than people. Just not where the certificate are standing right now. More jobs than people based on this certification. We have the opening, over 100 workers available, right? So these are real numbers and they do not lie. Now, none of these three forces, you see why the entry does narrow. Three things that make the entry into the field of cybersecurity career. What makes it narrow? Three things. Number one, budget. Number two, experience inflation. And number three, automated screening. So none of these three forces care how hard you study. They don't respect how hard you study. They are structural problems. So which means to be able to fix structural problem, you have to fix it structurally too, right? So you cannot out effort a structure, you reposition or around it. Okay? So you have to reposition yourself. If the door is narrow, you have to reposition yourself. And that is what we are going to do tonight. Now, let me see. How did we get here? And this particular part sting a little because I was part of it, right? How did we get to a point whereby great advice is still leading to less result? I gave this advice too, and the advice is correct and is still correct till today. GRC is a real career and a real entry point into cybersecurity. But guess what? The advice that works for 100 people breaks when millions of people follow it simultaneously. Everybody, okay, we want to solve the problem of unemployment or underemployment. We said, come as you are into GRC. But now we now have more people funneling into through the same door. Now, while we are trying to solve the problem of unemployment, we have created another problem, which is the problem of supply. So we now have more trained GRC professionals, fighting for GRC, entry-level GRC role than the GRC roles available. So which has shifted the market from being the employee market or job seekers market, it has now switched it back to recruiters market. So now, for every one position, the recruiter, they have about more than 50 people qualify for just one role. So they can pick and choose as they wish. So which means the problem is not you. So the advice that worked for 100 people 3, 4, 5 years ago. Now we now have over 1 million people following the same advice and doing the same thing at the same time. Now the whole thing has broken. That is where we are. The last 5 years, the rate at which people are securing job is very, very high. Now it has reduced, not because, so you have to do more to actually get in, because the market is still but now you have to prove yourself beyond reasonable doubt to be able to get in. And but we want to solve that problem, right? That is why we are here. So now let's talk about this. Look at this particular funnel. Everybody down the same door. So your resume is not wrong. Your worth has not reduced. Geometry, arithmetic is the problem. So now, if this is the problem, what should we do? Does that mean we should just give up the GRC and go back to where we're coming from? The answer is no. We're going to do it right. And this is where tonight turns things around for you. We are not going to go through this regular door that people are going through. We are going to channel our own energy in the right direction, coming through into the building through a different door. But how do we do that? And that is why we are here tonight. Probably in this room, some people have been quietly blaming themselves. Oh, for 2 years, I've not gotten a job. I've sent out countless number of resume applications, 0 copy, there is any, maybe 6, but no result, no offer. We want to fix that tonight. But here I got the good news for you, and genuinely good news for you. The demand for cybersecurity skill set is still high, but it's only moved. Okay? It's still available, but it has been repositioned. But I want you to remember tonight, if there is one sentence tonight, this industry did not reject you. This industry did not reject your worth. This industry did not reject your resume. But the position that you are applying for has been oversubscribed. So what we can do, and this problem of repositioning is solvable. We want to solve that problem. And we have to follow the right thing. That is the most important thing. Now, the problem was never the cybersecurity, it is repositioning. Okay? Now, look at the green card. There are still millions of unfilled roles globally, according to ISC Square. We still have double-digit projected growth in this field of cybersecurity. That is not going away anytime soon. Every company in this whole wide world, in every country, in every continent, they need the skill set of cybersecurity. That is true. But what we have right now is that the demand has been repositioned. It has moved. So you have to be able to prove the work that you have done. It's not just about I conducted security assessment. Show me the security assessment that you have conducted. So they are now asking more questions than the regular ones. I've been in the field for more than 10 years, and I will tell you for free. We were doing live, you go to sites for interview, you work on site before COVID came 6 years ago, and then everything restructured, and the job is still there. But they are now asking more questions than usual. Now, even if you want to do work from home or you want to do a video interview, you have to actually show them your card to show that you are the real person that is doing the interview and the real person on an identification. In the beginning, it was not so. So the problem was never cybersecurity, it is repositioning. And that repositioning problem, we can solve it together. Many of us, many people, and I will say this with utmost respect, we are treating GRC as a career destination. GRC is not a destination, it is the raw material for greater career growth. Now, if you set yourself up and say, I want to do GRC and this is the only thing that I want to do, you are not expanding, you're exploring more opportunities that GRC can offer you. You can suffer what I call career shock, or you can be career stale. If there's any word like that, okay? So, but want to look at all of these things and see how we can solve this problem. Now look at these rows that we see on the screen. Some of them you are familiar with, especially those written in white, but let's focus on those three ones in gold color, maybe yellow, I'm not sure, right? But that is colored. Right? Let's focus on them. These are technical side of cybersecurity. Remember, I was part of those people that said it's non-technical, but let me tell you this. GRC is non-technical, but can find expression in the technical field. And how we're going to leverage our GRC skill sets to secure opportunity in the technical world. That's what we're talking about here. So why are we focusing on these three rows tonight? Okay, the work is exploding in this field. The talent pool in these three rows especially is very, very thin. The secret is that your GRC training is genuine advantage to secure an opportunity in vulnerability management, in cloud security, in container security. Your GRC training is a genuine advantage. But we're going to rewrite our resume, remember, tonight, using some words and based on what we're going to learn tonight. You see, this next slide deck that we have on the screen, I want you to take a screenshot of this slide deck that we have on the screen, because we're going to reference that and you can actually verify what this actually means, right? So let's look at it. In GRC, if you are familiar, I'm very, very certain, because I see more GRC people identify with GRC here. So you probably can, you align with some of the terminology on the left side of the screen, which is POA&M. POA&M stands for Plan of Action and Milestone. Maybe if you are just meeting this terminology for the first time, let me give you a quick rundown. POA&M is like the corrective plan. What I mean? When you conduct security assessment and you discover a finding, and that finding needs to be fixed, you have to document the findings that need to be fixed, who found the finding, what are the fixing the problem, when did he fix it, like a corrective action plan of fixing a plan. That is POA&M in a nutshell. So, and we're very familiar with POA&M in GRC. But do you know that the POA&M in GRC, when you come into the cloud security, container security, that is what is called remediation SLA. So which means you have actually been doing the cloud security job. You don't even know. If you have ever touched any POA&M, if you have ever driven the resolution of any identified findings on a POA&M, you are qualified to work in cloud security. And because POA&M in GRC is the same thing as remediation service level agreement in cloud. Let's look at the other document, which is very, very popular. A system security plan is just the documentation of everything that has to do with the system, right? I don't mean to throw you off if you are just hearing this terminology for the first time. Now, in GRC, we work with SSP, we develop SSP, we update SSP. But do you know that in cloud security, container security, similar thing is called cluster documentation? The same thing for control assessment. We conduct assessments in GRC, and in cloud security, we are doing what we call CIS benchmark scan. So NIST 853 or PCI DSS or ISO 27001 or GDPR or PCI DSS, you name it, all the security framework and standards that you are familiar with in the GRC side. When you come to the cloud security, you're actually dealing with what we call container security controls. So you already have transferable skill. And the same thing for risk register. In GRC, it is called attack path prioritization in cloud security. And I can go on and on, right? So what are we talking about here? Is that you already speaking cloud security, container security language. You just don't know. You have already been doing the job, you just don't know. So when you look at this GRC exit track, I call it GRC exit track. That is the framework that I'm introducing to you. That is, if you already have the GRC skill set or you're trying to get into GRC, what we don't want to treat it as a destination for you. We want to treat it as a raw material for a greater career opportunity. Now, this is the framework. You build the foundation, you lay the GRC, the vulnerability management, cloud security, and your goal is to get to container security. Each of these cards, okay, is not a start, okay? It's a layer on which the other one is built on. So, which means you are not discarding the current experience that you have. You are only building on top of it. You are not starting over again. You are not discarding it. So every layer is sustained the previous one. And this is the exact sequence that we are going to teach, that I'm going to teach you how to transition into container security, still using your GRC experience. So this is very, very important. Each of these card, okay, they borrow from one before. So container security is built on cloud security. Cloud security is built on vulnerability management, which is built on GRC, and the foundation is also very important for you. Okay, let's see. This is what I call the translator. You as a GRC person, currently you are speaking framework, but we, the container guy, we are speaking pipeline. Okay, but how you are doing what the container security people, they hate to do. They don't like framework. Tell them to build anything all day, every day. We'll be more than happy to do that for you. But when you start talking about documentation, they don't like it. But now look at you. You already speaking the framework. You know about the documentation. But now you are now leveraging what you know in the cloud container security. So which means someone, okay, that can speak both language is the person that is the most relevant person in a company. There is no chief information security officer in any company that doesn't have the compliance background. Go and check it out. No, you cannot function at that level without GRC experience. And like I said, all these people, they don't like documentation. But you're job, right? So now leveraging that, it becomes easy. Now let me say this, and I'm saying this with utmost respect. I have had the privilege of speaking one-on-one with people. You don't have to buy the course from me. I just put the calendar on to everyone. Tomorrow I'm going to be having about 6 one with people. They've not bought the course from me, but I just want to educate, right? I was able to speak with a guy. He was a DevOps engineer. He built whatever he needed to build for his company. He trained people and he was let go. He was a technical guy. He's been with the company for over 12 years. I was listening to him. It was painful for him. He said, you know what? I want to learn this GRC. Whatever it is, I'm going to learn it. So he came to me to seek advice, and I was able to point him in the right direction. So what am I actually saying is that you already have the foundation and you are only going to build on top of what you already have. So the person who does both controls the room. The person that does the framework and that speaks the pipeline, that is the person that controls the room. Okay, so so let's look at this. I have an assignment for you, and this is a genuine one. You want to take a screenshot too, please go ahead and do that so that you prove me wrong. I don't like right when it comes to things like this. Go and do a research, 10, maybe about 10, 5, 10, it doesn't matter, job posting on vulnerability management analyst. Remember, if you recall, my foundation, the GRC, vulnerability management, cloud security, and container security. Don't even let us touch the container security yet. Look at the next row, right? The vulnerability management. Do a 10 job posting. Compare uh the and look out for anyone that reference all those security control framework as part of the requirements to getting that job. And I also mentioned something about cloud and container. You see, out of those 10, right, you see nothing less than 7 or 8 that is going to say you must have the experience of framework and as well as the container information, right? So this is very, very important. This is one of the assignments that I have for you today. I think I might have another one along the line, but we're going to find out later. All right. If you feel that you are getting making sense from anything that I'm saying, just drop one in the chat room. If you believe that I'm speaking to you, you're understanding that, okay, thank you. Got the one person out of 21 people. Okay, two, reducing 4, 5, 6. Okay, 7, 8, 10, 11. All right, thank you so very much. Now, let's talk about this. David, nobody told David the line kept going, okay? Because David trained in GRC and he pitched his tent in GRC. But there was nobody that told him that no, GRC is not a destination, it's just a raw material for where you are going. His bootcamp graduated him these red dots that we have, and they call it you are job ready. And then he went into the market with the skill set that yes, I've been trained. I can go get a job in cybersecurity. And the advice is still correct. But guess what? The employers, they start reading resumes from that orange line. How far is David from that orange line? It's still far, right? So let me show you what crossing the gap looks like without you touching any line of code. You don't know anything about Python, about whatever Cobra, not Cobra, any programming, but yet you want to cross the line into that gold line. Let's look at what we going to do. All right, shall we? All right, so I'm excited about this. Now I want to teach you. I'm switching now from the webinar mode into the teaching mode. Now, when you think about container security, let me explain this to you in 90 seconds. And if you can understand this within 90 seconds, imagine what that would mean if we sit together for 12 weeks to learn about this. You become a golden star. All right. Container security in 90 seconds. 4 terminologies that we're going to build on. 4 terminology. All right. Just type the word 4. Let me be sure that nobody is sleeping here. Type 4 in the chat room. 4 terminologies. Think about a kitchen. All right. Think about you are in a kitchen. You have a recipe. You have a cookbook. You have the meal, and then you have a restaurant manager. Maybe I can look for a paper, right? So A recipe might just be a single paper like this that have the list of instructions, what you need to do. Let's say you want to cook, let me borrow a terminology, rice. You want to boil rice. How many cups of rice? How many cup of water? Salt, the level of the heat, and whatever things, right? So the recipe is just a paper, it's a set of instructions that contains the ingredients that you need to make a meal. Do you know that if everybody, every kitchen, if they copy the same recipe, they can possibly get the same meal out? But here, this is recipe, it's not cooking yet. So everybody can copy the same recipe and then go to town with it. Now, a cookbook contains multiple number of the recipe, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. So in a cookbook, you have all the recipe, contains all the recipe put together. If you are thinking about cooking anything, you go to the cookbook as a repository for all the recipe for any meal that you want to cook. Now, the meal itself is prepared from the recipe. Imagine if there is one ingredient on the recipe, right? There is one ingredient on the recipe that is poisonous, and every kitchen copy the same recipe. Nobody check to confirm if the the listed on that thing poisonous. Do you know that that is how we duplicate vulnerability across different containers? Now let me make it make sense. The recipe is the container image. Nothing, you can copy the container image from GitHub, from Docker, from anywhere. You can build your own, image, using Python, whatever it is, right? That is the image. It's not running yet. It's just a list of code. We call it dependencies. It has different dependencies, different codes, and like the ingredient recipe. Now, it's very possible that one of those dependencies has vulnerability. And now, if we do not check the image and we are building, now the meal in our own case is the container itself, is the running image that is already processed. I borrowed the word process from the layman term, but it's actually that is being built. The container is running from the image. Now, if that container is built from a that has vulnerability, that container is also corrupted, right? And the cookbook is the registry, the restaurant manager is the Kubernetes, or the cluster. I don't know if that is 90 seconds. Probably it's more than 90 seconds, but at least you have an idea that one bad ingredient poisons every plate. And that's how a single CVE hits 10,000 workloads overnight. And governing that cookbook, right? That is, we have the cookbook that contains all those recipes. When you govern the cookbook, that is policy. A policy governs the registry, the containers, right? And make sure that everything running in that thing is clean and safe. That is how we have a safe container security. So probably if you what I just mentioned, maybe you just want to type the word R for recipe. Just type the word R as recipe in the chat room, and so that we keep going. I just want to fill the room. I want to make sure that people are here. All right, thank you so very much. The first person to type that word, you probably hold me a seat. All right, the next quote. So what are we talking about? That's exactly what we are talking about. So We just studied cybersecurity. We just about the container security. Did you see the word policy in that? So there is nothing that the container people are doing that we cannot do. We may not be able to code, but we'll tell them, hey, guy, the code that you have in place is poisonous, guy. Go and fix it. Now, you see, GRC, policy, vulnerability, we have merged about 3 different roles together already. Okay, let's rewrite your resume. If you currently have GRC resume, probably you see something, you have an item similar to what I have on the screen, right? That says, I assisted with security control assessment and compliance documentation. That is how GR's resume reads. But how about us flipping it around to optimize that same statement so that it suits the container security, cloud security? Put that word together, please, so that we don't really far apart like that, okay? And we say we assessed NIST 853 controls across 40 systems and track remediation to closure. The same workflow used in cloud vulnerability management, that is CIS benchmark remediation SLAs. If you craft something like that in your resume and you have the duplicate of those kind of things in your resume has just been optimized from standing at the crowded door to gain access into the building from another door. So the recruiter will not read your resume the same if you have the previous one and the next one. Now, we just did container security. Now imagine doing this for 12 weeks. I guarantee you that at the end of 12 weeks, you will already better understanding of what you are doing. And you can articulate everything that you have on your resume. And then we now also have the hands-on demonstration of everything that we talk about. Okay, that is a proof of what we are documenting. So you already clear the question of, can you do the job? Yes, you can do the job. Yes, you know how to do the job. And you're already doing the job before the job even came. And you build a portfolio and you launch the portfolio and you can defend it anywhere. And tell them I cannot code, but I can monitor those people coding. And I've done that before. So now let me recall, right? Remember at the beginning, especially for those of us that came early, I did mention to you that at the end of this presentation, I'm going to introduce you to the cohorts that I'll be starting on Monday. Okay? And this is that moment. Okay? I call it 12 weeks of GRC exit plan. You see that translation table that I asked you to copy to do a screenshot of? Imagine having your resume, is on the left side, but we want to translate it to something on the right. Okay? And that is what we're going to do. And this is how the 12-week is going to be planned out. The first 3 weeks, we're going to build a very strong foundation on GRC. Okay? We want to translate your current experience, whether you have been trained in GRC before or you are completely new to GRC. The first 3 weeks, that is your building time. This first 3 weeks means that we are going to have 6 sections because we're going to be meeting twice a week for 3 weeks in the first 3 weeks. That means 6 sections, right? Building the GRC foundation. Now, the week 4 to 6, we're going to talk about vulnerabilities. Now, I will tell you this for free. It doesn't cost me anything to tell you that anything you are doing in cybersecurity, and hear free, we are dealing with vulnerability. When you hear the word cybersecurity, if you have been thinking about that as a code, begin to think about whenever you hear the word cybersecurity as the word vulnerability management. That's the summary of what we are doing. And the vulnerability can vulnerability anywhere. The physical infrastructure, we can find it in the container, like I demonstrated. A dependency, an image can have not just only one vulnerability, multiple vulnerabilities. And which means vulnerability management is very, very key cybersecurity. So we progress into vulnerability management. In the week 4 to 6, week 7 to 8, we focus on cloud and container security. And the last weeks, we are going to focus on the job push. Now, this is a well thought out plan. I've done my thorough research that I'm providing value that has never been provided by any career provider, cybersecurity training that I know that you know that's given to people. And I know the first question that you're going to, and I'm going to answer your question. So this is what we're going to be dealing with. We're going to look at this thing 24 live mentorship sessions, and every session will be recorded. We're going to build about 12 portfolio deliverables together with capstone, that is evidence of what you have done. Of course, the mock interviews will be there. I'm going to share with you the templates that you're going to use, right? We're going to do hands-on labs, right? And it's not going to be too technical for those that are not technical. We're going to translate your resume. There is a private community that you're going to be part of. It's not just WhatsApp page. We're going to community that you're going to be part of, and we're going to have weekly office hours. Okay, if you have challenges, whatever you're doing, or maybe the first 3 weeks, you started launching your GRC career, you started looking for GRC job, and you have an interview, and you feel like, hey, Mr. K, Professor K, whatever name you call me, say, okay, I have an interview tomorrow. Let's just circle around and see what we can do. That's one of the benefits of being in this community. And of course, because this is a very demanding job, and I'm going to be frank with you, it's a very demanding task. I have a lot of things. I have to touch base with every student. I have opening for just 12 people. Just 12 people. It's not a marketing gimmicks. It is just the calendar opportunity. So which means I can only mentor 12 people at the same time so as to be able to give them the best. And it's going to be first come, first serve. That is what I am doing. And this is what I want to tell you, right? Attend all the 24 sessions with access to recorded session. The 12 deliverable is available for you. Attempt them and also work on your capstone. Then being able to go through all these things, if you can't pass that defense, right? It's not going to be a very high technical kind of thing, but it's just a way of holding ourselves accountable, right? If you're not able to get through that, and then I will tell you that the next cohort, I will pull you into the next cohort for free. You don't have to pay, right? That is, if you do not finish if you everything and you could not do the capstone, right? But I will put you into the next cohort and also give you a one-on-one mentoring session so that every student, I want to have a personal touch with them. Okay, that is very important thing that I will tell you for free tonight. Okay, is this. Already have a GRC self-paced training, which means if you log in today, you have access to that GRC. I call it Ultimate Cybersecurity Mentoring Training. Let me give you a quick curriculum of that Ultimate Cybersecurity Training. Everything about GRC, self-paced. Okay, so which it's your starting point. If you subscribe tonight for this training, you have free access to Ultimate Cybersecurity Mentoring Training, self-paced, And then you're also going to have access to the vault, which is the 12 framework. So we're going to have access to two courses at the same time. The vault will not be starting until Monday. So, but with the ultimate cybersecurity mentoring training, you can start with it right here, right now. It's a full detail, process, pre-recorded with scenario based that many people are purchasing all over the world and they are getting the job. Okay, but this that on Monday is a live training, but you have the ultimate cybersecurity mentor as a backup to prepare you for what you're going to get in the class. But now the question is, how much is it? That will be the next question. I got you. Now, at a very discounted price of 1197. Already, the ultimate cybersecurity training, I don't want to justify the price, but I'm tempted to say this. The ultimate cybersecurity training itself alone is about 1997, and you are not paying 1997 at all. But you are getting that as a bonus to the live 12 weeks detailed training, and you are getting everything for free. So that is highly discounted. Now, a good question or a good answer that I believe I have for you is this. I also have you can do installment, right? This 1197 is one time done with. There is no surprise, no charging you on anything later. Just pay for this and you have access to it. No, that's it. And if you don't have the 1197 today, it's okay. You can do 425, 3 months of 425. And either you pay 425 tonight or you pay 1197, which is the best offer. You are having access to free cybersecurity ultimate mentoring. You are having access to that. So you start learning from now. I taught every curriculum in that. I built every curriculum in that. But one thing I just need you to know is that if you are going the route of 425, you're just going to pay about $78 more, which is still not bad. It's far less than the cost of buying a gas in your car. All right. Any of this price is an investment into a future that you so much desire. So that is very, very important for you. So if you are willing, ready to do that, you can do a screenshot, or you scan the QR code and register. Also, if you want to enroll right now, this is the good time to do that. Probably you have questions. You want me to answer any question for you. I know my calendar is fully booked, but I can still squeeze you in. You can scan this QR code to get a time to talk to me, right? But very, very important, the cohort will be starting on Monday, and the registration for that class will be closing on Sunday. But for the first 5 people that will be enrolling today, I will personally schedule a time with you to pick your current GRC resume, and I will translate it for you to container security. So you have that one handy, right? And I will schedule a one-on-one with you. Okay, the first people, that is very, very important. But now let's go back to David, our composite person. So now you are not starting over because David did not start over. So David eventually got the job. The same experience that did not give him the opportunity, he translated it. It's the same person, but he just used a different door. He translated his resume, he translated his experience, and then he got the job. And that is how you transition from where you are to where you should be in the field of cybersecurity. So with this, I believe you have the full information that you need for you to transition into the field of cybersecurity. And probably I've been able to convince you that cybersecurity is the career that gives you the opportunity to get better, and also it gives you a future. And it doesn't matter how right now will be able to answer your question. Scan this QR code to enroll or to join the community. Right now, you can scan the below screen uh, code, able to join the community for free, right? But that is very, very important. I'm going to entertain a few questions. If you have any question, let me know, right? Let's take it from the any question at all. You can send it in the chat. You can also ask. Okay, Shaya is hands raised. Shaya, please go ahead, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. And good evening, everybody. My question is that the 2 week classes. What if somebody is not able to attend the class? How do we make up? Let's say I miss a class. Is there any way I can catch up on that?
So the two classes, I mean, they recorded, right? So which means you only be able to you access the recording, to catch up. You understand that? And I did the time is going to be 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Mondays and Thursdays. Okay. So if you're not able to meet Central Standard Time, by the way, so which means 7 p.m. for those in Eastern Time, do the math. I think that should be 8 to 10 for you. So that is the time, Mondays and Thursday for this current cohort, right? And then the recording of each class will be available for you to review. I don't know if that sounds like a plan to you. Does it?
Yes, it does. I believe I won't be missing anything if watching the recording and every other thing.
You shouldn't. You should be, right? There's no better time, but
Yes.
we just going to do what we need to do, what we got to do. Okay. So that's any other
Okay,
question?
thank you.
Any other question? So if there's no question, I believe will be the end of the, I promise, 45 minutes. I know I didn't keep to time, right? And apologies for that. I didn't take your time for granted. I really, really cherish, I really appreciate you. But one thing is that once I switch from webinar presenter to a teaching person, I just go rogue. So but honestly, that's just if you have any question, please feel free to reach out. But the enrollment is open. The first 5 people will get access, having their resume being interpreted or translated for them, and then I will show them the job. I will have personal time with them that, okay, we can start applying with this resume, although you don't have the full details. Let's start testing the water. And when you start the class, you just pick it up from them. That will be for the first 5 people, and the enrollment will close on Sunday. You won't be able to enroll. I'm just 12 people to be able to cater to everyone. And thank you so very much. If there's no question, I'm going to say, let me stop the recording first, right? And then I'm going to release everyone, but I'm going to stay back just in case someone you have a question, you just don't want to talk yet.